The convention will please come to order. As a reminder, I would like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones and portable devices. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Now I would like to ask Chaplain Deborah Vonner Dancer to lead us in prayer as we prepare to undertake this morning's business. Chaplain.
Good morning. Let us pray. Almighty Creator, once again we've assembled together. We're so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to continue such a great work to carry the vision and the tasks that are set before us. God, we honor those and we bless those who are being honored today for their great works and efforts and continue to make our nation great, our vision plan and our mission come to pass. So as we continue with your grace and your mercy, and we're forever thankful. And the people say it. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please be seated. In order for a delegate to be heard at this convention, you must first be recognized by the chair. Only those delegates at a microphone will be recognized. They must state their name, chapter number, and the state they represent. Comrades, the convention rules are a continuing part of our bylaws. They are part and parcel of Article 3 and remain in effect continually. They are subject to amendment as provided in the bylaws and do not require readoption. I would like to call on William Macedo for the Credential Committee's report.
And washed it away down the kitchen sink. The dog days are over. The dog days are done. The horses are coming, so you better run.
The National Convention Committee on Credentials was called to order for its first business session on August 1st, 2026 by the committee advisors Michael E. Dobmeyer and Lamar Kauser. The first order of business was the election of a convention committee chairman and secretary. William Macedo was elected as chairman and Jeremy Barata was elected as secretary. Our registration at the present time is 12,145. This is a partial report for informational purposes only. Comrade Commander, this concludes the first report on the committee of the Committee on Credentials. Excuse me.
Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce and recognize my National Chief of Staff, Mike Valia, our National Officer of the Day, David Epps, and Sergeant at Arms, Don Horton. Thank you, gentlemen, for your support. You have made my life innumerably easier. Thank you. Our next speaker hardly needs an introduction to many of you. In January, Jim Marszalek was appointed Executive Director of DAV Washington Headquarters, where he now leads our legislative and service programs. He oversees more than 400 employees nationwide and serves as DAV's principal advocate before Congress, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the White House. A Marine veteran. There you go. Jim's DAV journey began more than 2 decades ago as a National Service Officer apprentice. Through hard work, leadership, and an unwavering commitment to veterans, he rose through the ranks to become one of the nation's foremost experts on veterans benefits and advocacy. Today, he'll deliver his first Executive Director's report to you, our fellow members, a significant milestone in a career dedicated to serving veterans and their families. It is my honor to introduce Executive Director, Washington Headquarters, and my fellow Devil Dog, Jim Marszalek.
Best believe I'm still bejeweled when I walk in the room. I can still make the whole place shimmer. And when I meet the band, they ask, do you have a man? I can still say I don't.
Good morning.
Familiarity.
DAV and auxiliary members, distinguished guests, supporters, families, and friends. It's an honor to stand before you today as the Executive Director of DAV Washington Headquarters to provide a report on the accomplishments and continuing activities of our national service and legislative programs. This is the 24th National Convention I've attended, but it's my first serving in this new role. Before I proceed, I'd like to recognize my predecessor. For nearly a decade, Randy Reese served our charity with integrity, vision, and unwavering commitment to our nation's veterans as Executive Director of DAV's Washington Headquarters. It was his last stop on a 30-year career dedicated to DAV's mission. As Executive Director, he helped guide this organization through periods of tremendous growth, unprecedented challenges, and remarkable success. His leadership strengthened DAV's reputation as the nation's most effective voice for disabled veterans and their families. And the improvement he's made in the lives of nation's veterans during his time at DAV will last for generations. Please join me in thanking Randy for his extraordinary service and wishing him the best in his well-earned retirement. On the same day Randy retired, we also said farewell to another extraordinary leader when Joy Elam retired as National Legislative Director after 3 decades of distinguished service to her fellow veterans. Joy's impact on DAV and the broader veterans community cannot be overstated. Through her leadership, expertise, and relentless advocacy, she helped shape countless legislative victories that improved the lives of disabled veterans and their families. The relationships she built, the credibility she established, and the results she achieved strengthened DAV's position as the most respected voice for veterans on Capitol Hill. Please join me in thanking Joy for her remarkable service to DAV and our nation's veterans. Their retirements marked the beginning of a new chapter for those of us in Washington. Joy's deputy, John Retzer, was promoted to National Legislative Director, and Scott Hope was promoted to National Service Director. In a relatively short period of time, 3 of DAV's most senior leadership positions at Washington Headquarters changed hands. For any organization, that level of uncertainty can create uncertainty, but not here, not at DAV. When I accepted the responsibility of serving as Executive Director, I knew I was inheriting an extraordinary legacy because our organization was built on generations of veterans serving our brothers and sisters. Last month, on July 4th, we celebrated the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. What many people may not know is the actual Declaration was signed 250 years ago today, August 2nd, 1776, led by John Hancock, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and so many others. But neither of those dates tell the whole story of when our nation achieved its independence. In many ways, the fight for freedom has continued ever since, and the veterans are the ones who have led the way and paid the price. I'm sure you're all familiar with President Abraham Lincoln's famous quote, "To care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan." This has long defined the mission of the Department of Veterans Affairs. But 2 years earlier at Gettysburg, in his most famous speech, he also spoke about that mission. Looking across that hallowed battleground, Lincoln said, "It is for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work." For DAV, it has always been our mission and commitment to finish the unfinished work. The issues before us may change. The political environment certainly changes. But our commitment to veterans does not. That commitment is what allowed DAV to become and will remain the nation's strongest, most trusted, and most effective advocate for disabled veterans and their families. Over the past year, I've watched our service officers help veterans who have nearly given up finally receive the benefits they earned. For many on the receiving end of this assistance, their encounters with our advocates were the first time they've ever felt heard. And it was the first time they ever felt they weren't alone, that someone was on their side in their fight for justice. I've seen our transition service officers bring hope to service members as they help prepare them for life after the military and ensure they understand the benefits available to them before they leave active duty. I've witnessed our legislative team walking the halls of Congress, meeting with policymakers, and defending veterans against proposals that threaten the benefits and health care we earn through service. And I've seen DAV members across the country bring that same message directly to members of Congress and senators in their states and communities. With nearly 1 million members, plus our auxiliary and extended family, the DAV is and will remain a force to be reckoned with. Our National Service Department continues to set the standard for veteran representation and advocacy. Working hand in hand with thousands of transition, department, and chapter service officers, they assisted hundreds of thousands of veterans and family members over the past year. They provided expert claims assistance, benefits counseling, and representation at every stage of the process. They stood beside veterans confronting complex bureaucracies and helped them navigate systems they can often seem overwhelming. And because of their efforts, countless veterans received the benefits they had earned. If you are a national, transition, department, or chapter service officer, please stand or wave so that we can thank you for what you do. DAV's success is not accidental. It's the result of investment, training, innovation, and the dedication of extraordinary people. For example, we made the decision a couple years ago to extend our Best in the Business iTrack training system to support our department and chapter service officers. As many in this room know, DSOs and CSOs now receive their certification training through iTrack, and more than 1,800 of you have already done just that. We expanded our information seminar program to educate veterans about their benefits, and in 2025 alone, we completed more than 450 seminars across the nation. And we continue to develop new outreach efforts, such as our virtual information seminars and our engagement with Native American and Indigenous veterans. As we look ahead, we remain committed to strengthening and modernizing our service programs while maintaining the personalized assistance that veterans deserve. Because when it comes to helping veterans, DAV is second to none. As proud as we are of those accomplishments, we know our responsibility extends beyond helping veterans navigate the system as it exists today. We also need to strengthen that system and protect it from those who would weaken it. There's a saying in the military that sometimes the most important victory is not the hill you capture, it's the hill you refuse to surrender. Veterans understand that truth. Some of DAV's most important victories for veterans have not been new laws, but the benefits that were not cut and the healthcare system that was protected. Over the past year, we witnessed increasing attacks on veterans' disability compensation. I'm sure most of you remember the outrageous stories by the Washington Post last year. They accused disabled veterans of cheating and taking advantage of the VA disability system. We reject that narrative completely. Disability compensation is not a handout. It's not welfare. It's not charity. It's a sacred obligation that this nation must never forget. Yet earlier this year, VA published a regulation to reduce compensation for veterans who take medications for their service-connected disabilities. This was unexpected and, of course, completely unacceptable. That's why we were the first organization to speak out against it. Fortunately, thanks to our opposition, backed up by a coalition of VSOs and magnified by an outcry of veterans around the country, VA rescinded that regulation because no veteran should ever be penalized for taking the medications they need to survive. But then a couple months ago, a new threat arose when Congress proposed changing the rating schedule to end compensation for service-connected tinnitus and slash compensation for veterans, most veterans with sleep apnea. VA estimated this could cut up to $57 billion in earned benefits from as many as 1.5 million disabled veterans over the next decade. Think about that for a moment. 1.5 million veterans, $57 billion. Yet this proposal was inserted into the middle of a veterans bill called the Take Care of American Veterans Act. The bill contains dozens of benefit and health care improvements supported by DAV and other VSOs. Let me be absolutely clear. DAV completely and totally rejects the idea of cutting benefits for one group of veterans, current or future, to pay for benefits already earned by another. As most of you probably know, a couple weeks ago, the bill was brought up in the House of Representatives, despite overwhelming opposition from veterans around the country. But thanks to all of your hard work, educating and advocating members of Congress, the bill did not pass that day. But this fight is not over yet. The House and Senate may try again this fall to enact these benefit cuts. So we are going to need everyone here today and thousands of other DAV members and supporters to help us. We need you to call and meet with your representatives. Let them know this legislation should not go forward until they take out the benefit cuts. Tell them this grateful nation should never balance the budget on the backs of the men and women who sacrifice for our freedom. At the same time, we're also fighting efforts to shrink and weaken the VA healthcare system. For generations, VAs provided high-quality medical care uniquely tailored to veterans. Because VA doctors understand military culture, they understand toxic exposures, they understand combat injuries, they understand veterans. And independent studies have shown time and again that the overall quality and safety of VA healthcare is equal to or better than that of the private sector. Yet today, there are proposals to shift critical funding away from VA medical facilities and into the community. We agree community care has an important role to play because VA simply cannot provide all care to all veterans at all places at all times. There must be additional options when veterans have to wait too long or travel too far to get to VA. But community care must complement the VA, not replace it. When funding is diverted away from VA facilities and into private sector, veterans risk losing access to specialized services only the VA can provide. Veterans will ultimately pay the price through less access, lower quality, and worse health outcomes. That's why DAV has been leading the fight to protect the VA healthcare system. Last year, when VA proposed cutting nearly 90,000 healthcare positions, DAV and our independent budget partners called for increasing spending to fill more than 40,000 vacancies. This year, when VA proposed flatlining its medical budget and shifting billions into private sector care, the Veterans Independent budget called for dramatically increasing investment in VA hospitals and clinics. We testified before Congress. We mobilized our grassroots network, and we consistently reminded policymakers that strengthening veterans' health care requires investing in the VA, not dismantling it. Protecting veterans from harmful policies is only part of our work. We also continue advancing legislation that improve their lives. Over the past year, it has not been easy, as the gridlock and dysfunction in Washington has become worse than probably any time in my life. But despite these challenges, DAV's legislative advocacy efforts remain steadfast and focused on 9 critical policy goals for 2026. And of course, since I'm a Marine, I'll just talk about 5 so I can count on one hand. First, we must fulfill the promises made to disabled veterans and their survivors so they receive all of their earned benefits. That means allowing every veteran to both receive their disability compensation and their military retirement. Eliminating the remarriage penalty for widows. Increasing DIC support for survivors. And And finally passing the full and complete Major Richester Act without cutting future veterans' benefits. We're also working to reform federal policies so toxic exposed veterans don't have to wait decades for their invisible wounds to be recognized. That's what happened to Vietnam veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Since publishing our Ending the Wait for Toxic Exposed Veterans report a couple years ago, we worked closely with a coalition of VSOs to implement our recommendations. Over the past year, we've made good progress with both the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees on legislation to increase transparency and stakeholder oversight of VA's presumptive policies for toxic exposures, because no veteran should have to wait decades to get their earned benefits. We also remain focused on making the claims and appeals process work better for all veterans. While the claims backlog has come down in the last few years, the process is still too complicated and frustrating for many veterans. We're working with VSO partners in Congress on reforms that would fix it, but from the veteran's perspective. That means simplifying benefits claims filing procedures, eliminating effective date penalties for incorrect forms, allowing veterans to initiate claims by phone, and improving the clarity and accuracy of decision notification letters. The struggle for benefits should never be harder than the service that earned them. In addition to strengthening veterans' health care, we are also focused on improving long-term care support for veterans and their family caregivers. We're working with Congress on legislation to create assisted living programs for veterans who can no longer live independently at home. We fought for the Veteran Caregiver Reeducation, Reemployment, and Retirement Act, which has now been approved by both the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees. With your continued help, we are hopeful that Congress will move this legislation forward and onto the President's desk before the end of the year, because our nation must never forget those who served and their unsung heroes. Finally, it's time to make VA dental care services available to all enrolled veterans. I'm pleased to report that thanks to the pressure from our DEV CAN members, there are now more than 100 co-sponsors of H.R. 210, the Dental Care for Veterans Act. Rest assured that we will continue advocating for this legislation until it becomes law of the land, because dental care is health care, period. These priorities are not partisan. They are not ideological. They are practical. They are necessary. They reflect the real needs of veterans we serve every day. In closing, I want to share a quote that captures the spirit of DEV members. UCLA's basketball coaching legend John Wooden once said, "You can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who will never be able to repay you." As I stand here before you today, I see a room full of people trying to do just that. While we may not always have the perfect days, I'm confident that the future of DAV is bright. Not because challenges are disappearing, they're not. Not because the work is getting easier, it isn't. The future is bright because of the people who make this organization what it is. It begins with you. Service officers helping veterans every day, advocates fighting for veterans on Capitol Hill, volunteers serving in local communities, department and chapter leaders keeping this organization moving forward, and members whose voices will give DAV its power. 106 years ago, DAV founder Judge Robert Marks looked around a room filled with wounded veterans and observed what they had shared. A common experience which bound us together. That sentence explains why DAV was founded, in many ways what brought us all here today. Our common experience isn't just military service. It's understanding what service can cost. It's knowing what it means to come home with the wounds that others cannot always see. It's recognizing the responsibility to make sure the next generation of veterans never has to face those challenges alone. That's why together, we will continue defending earned benefits for all generations. Together, we will continue protecting and strengthening veterans' health care. Together, we will continue ensuring that America's veterans receive the respect, support, and opportunities they have earned. And together, we will continue proving that DAV remains the nation's leading voice and advocate for disabled veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. Commander, that concludes my report, and I ask for it to be accepted by the convention.
Nice job. Thank you, Commander. Thank you, Jim. Excellent job. May I have a motion to accept Mr. Marslick's report? May I have a second?
Mike 2, District 15, NEC. Second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. It is now my great pleasure to introduce a veteran we know for his outstanding leadership in this organization, a Marine veteran of the Iraq War. I love it. Cody Van Boxel was appointed Executive Director of DA's National Headquarters in Erlanger, Kentucky in June 2023. Cody began his DAV career over 15 years ago as a National Service Officer Apprentice in Washington, D.C., later supervising the Philadelphia National Service Office. He went on to serve as National Human Resources Director in 2017, Assistant Executive Director in 2021, where he was instrumental in the acquisition of DAV Patriot Boot Camp, and now leads DAV's national headquarters, overseeing the many departments and operations that support our mission to serve disabled veterans and their families. Among his many accomplishments, Cody helped oversee the creation and development of DAV Caregiver Support, expanding our commitment to veterans, caregivers, and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to your DAV National Headquarters Executive Director and my fellow Devil Dog, Cody Van Boxel.
Good morning, DAV. As always, it is a great honor to stand before all of you and thank you for everything you do to advance our shared mission of service. In February, I'll mark my 15th year at DAV, which still makes me a rookie to many of you. Around here, if you've only been with DAV for 15 years, you're still expected to carry the boxes. True story, it still happens. But before I report on the work of my team, I'd like to recognize a veteran who changed my life. Without him, there's a good chance I wouldn't be standing here today. Harry Mick Lipscomb was the kind of veteran we all know and all hope to be like. He had an uncanny ability to show up exactly when you needed him. When I met Mick, he was active in the veterans community in Northeast Ohio. He served in the Marine Corps near the end of the Vietnam era. He was a combat engineer, I'm pretty sure. But you'd hardly know it because he didn't like to talk about himself. He never put on airs, never bragged. Instead, I gathered he was one of those Marines who worked hard and played hard, which is to say he may have earned and lost some rank during his enlistment. Service changed Mick in ways that made him eligible to join DAV. But the most valuable thing he carried home from the Corps wasn't the benefits he earned, it was his sense of purpose. After 4 years in uniform, he spent more than 2 decades working in manufacturing for an automotive supplier. But the desire to be there and around other veterans never left him. He found purpose in many ways and ultimately joined DAV. Mick was the kind of veteran people naturally gravitated toward. He was quiet but purposeful. The kind of man people stopped to listen to when he spoke. Whether he was present locally or riding with the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club, he came alive serving alongside other veterans. He wouldn't hesitate to be the first to set up or the last one to leave. If tables needed folding, he folded them, or he yelled at me to do it. If someone needed encouragement, he always seemed to know exactly what to say. That's how he helped me. When I met Mick, I was struggling. I'd left the Marine Corps after 6 years as a Marine security guard. My service took me to West Africa, Eastern Europe, and Asia, and a long deployment to Iraq. While I was in uniform, my work felt important. And somewhere along the way, I'd outkicked my coverage. I'd met the most beautiful woman in all of Lithuania. Somehow I convinced her that I was handsome. You shouldn't have laughed. That wasn't a joke in my speech. I was handsome, capable of providing for a family, and perhaps most impressively, that I'd always have most of my hair. When I came home, having seen losses in combat and serving alongside extraordinary Marines, I was convinced I'd take the civilian world by storm. When I returned home to Northeast Ohio, the opportunities weren't there. The skills I developed didn't translate the way I expected. My peers had years of experience in the trades. I didn't. I took the first job I could land because I had a beautiful wife to support, and hopefully, one day soon children would fill our home. I was grateful. I was proud to provide what I could, but I wasn't fulfilled. The work was hard, money was tight, but the hardest part wasn't either of those things. It was the growing feeling that I'd lost my purpose, that I wasn't measuring up to my potential, that I wasn't making the difference I wanted to make. Then I really got to know Mick. For the first time since leaving the military, I felt like I had someone to talk to who understood me. I felt seen. I felt like someone believed I still had something important to contribute. Mick didn't just welcome me into the veteran community, he welcomed me into his life, into his home, into his circle of friends, and into his family. He held a space for me. And what I learned from him was extraordinary. He lived what most people would call an ordinary life, but he lived it in an extraordinary way. He became my best friend. And I know I wasn't the only one who felt that way. If a person's wealth were measured by the lives they touched, the friendships they built, and the service they gave, Mick was one of the richest men I've ever known. He believed something simple, and although he did not advertise it, he lived it every day. Our purpose in life is to be there for others. The greatest thing we leave behind isn't what we own. It's the lives we change, the examples we set, and the people we inspire long after we're gone. When Mick passed away in February, the funeral home was overflowing. Veterans, family, friends, neighbors, people from different chapters of his life. They hadn't come because Mick was famous. They came because he had made them feel seen, because he had shown up, because he had made their lives better. His heart stopped, his impact didn't. That's a legacy worth chasing. I often think about how different my own life might have been had I never met Mick. Without him, I probably wouldn't have joined or started my DAV career. Without him, I wouldn't have connected with other veterans who have become lifelong friends. Without him, I might never have pursued help with my VA benefits, which really opened my eyes to what this organization really does. If I hadn't experienced that life-changing assistance myself, I'm not sure I ever would have believed I could help change someone else's life in the same way. One veteran changed my life. Then he introduced me to a community that changes thousands more. The truth is, every one of us has a Mick in our lives. Someone who opened the door, someone who welcomed us, someone who believed in us before we believed in ourselves. And if we've been around long enough, many of us have become that person for someone else. Some of the veterans we help eventually choose to serve alongside us. Others never will, and that's okay, because that's never been the point. The greatest reward isn't recruiting another member or the satisfaction of creating a perfectly developed claim. It's seeing justice delivered. It's restoring hope. It's watching a veteran's face the moment they realize someone is finally listening. Our mission has always been simple. We advocate first. We connect veterans, their families, and their survivors with the benefits they've earned, with assistance achieving their maximum professional potential, with help getting to their medical appointments, with resources so they can sustain lives as caregivers, and more. There are no strings attached. But every now and then, a veteran discovers something greater. They discover purpose. Mick taught me that our purpose in life is to be there for someone else. I've thought about that lesson often because in DAV, the greatest service we provide isn't just solving a veteran's immediate problem. Sometimes, the greatest service we provide is giving another veteran the opportunity to serve again, to find purpose, to reconnect, to belong. That's why we have to think of ourselves as more than service officers, transportation volunteers, or chapter leaders. We have to be holistic advocates, meeting veterans where they are and helping with the need that's greatest in that moment. Sometimes that's a disability claim. Sometimes it's a ride to the VA. Sometimes it's support for an exhausted caregiver. Sometimes it's finding a job. Sometimes it's an invitation to become part of this family. And what our mission looks like every day begins with access. Last year, DAV volunteers provided more than 230,000 no-cost rides to help veterans reach their VA appointments. Every person in this room knows many of these rides save lives and give hope. Across our transportation network, the local Veterans Assistance Program benefits assistance, and countless community initiatives, DAV volunteers donated 3.8 million hours of service, representing nearly $54 million in support for veterans and their families. That's what access looks like. It also means caring for the people who care for veterans. Our caregiver support program continued to grow, adding more than 1,160 new engagements and ending the year with 1,309 active cases. Every day, we're helping veterans access the resources they need before burnout becomes crisis. When caregivers are healthier, our community is healthier. Purpose also means opportunity. Last year, we held 113 career fairs, connecting nearly 40,000 veterans and spouses with employees committed to hiring them. Along the way, we surpassed an extraordinary milestone. More than 200,000 job offers since the program began in 2014. We're not simply helping veterans find jobs, we're helping them rebuild careers, strengthen families, and rediscover purpose. That same philosophy drives DAV Patriot Boot Camp. Last year, 3 cohorts served 161 veteran and spouse entrepreneurs, supported by nearly 130 volunteer business mentors. Since DAV assumed stewardship of the program in 2022, its network of entrepreneurs and mentors has nearly doubled to 10,000 strong. Many of those entrepreneurs are already creating jobs to uplift our community. We're looking at new ways, as you've heard, to better serve our Native American brothers and sisters who too often face barriers to the benefits and justice they have earned. They will be an increasing area of focus for DAV in the years to come. Departments and chapters have already been working with the tribes for many years, but this is an area where greater collaboration and resources can do a world of good. We're continuing our partnerships with Save a Warrior and Boulder Crest to confront the suicide crisis affecting too many veterans. We're also working along incredible leaders like Brian Hubbard of Americans for Ibogaine, as well as Invisible Wounds Foundation, Mission Within, Athletes for Care, and others, advancing some of the most promising treatments available for veterans living with trauma. If therapies like Ibogaine or ayahuasca can help veterans who have been trapped by the effects of trauma and invisible wounds, then we have a responsibility to make sure those who can benefit have access to that care. These are all examples of veterans helping veterans in an entirely different way. Of course, none of this happens without a strong organization. Membership remains one of the greatest challenges facing every veteran service organization. But if anyone tells you DAV is shrinking, the facts tell a different story. We reached our membership goal for the first time since 2019. Over the last decade, we've added approximately 32,000 life members while responsibly removing more than 200,000 inactive trial memberships, ensuring the numbers we report to Congress accurately reflect the strength of our organization. That's progress, but it's also opportunity. 4 days before the close of our membership year, our National Service Officers recruited roughly 400 new members. NSOs across the country teamed up to accomplish that and ensure we met our goal. Now imagine what could happen if hundreds of thousands of DAV members embraced the same challenge. Too often, we help a veteran solve a problem, shake hands, and say goodbye, when perhaps we should simply ask, have you ever thought about joining DAV? Not because we need another stat or a banner for the flag, because they may be looking for exactly what Mick gave me, a place to belong, a mission worth serving, a chance to change someone else's life. I also want to address DAV's financial position because there are misconceptions that deserve a factual response. DAV continues to meet or exceed the highest standards for transparency, accountability, and financial stewardship. The Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance continues to give DAV its highest marks for transparency and accountability. Through careful stewardship, we've built financial reserves that fall within BBB guidelines, not because we measure success by the size of our balance sheet, but because veterans deserve dependable support regardless of what tomorrow brings. The financial strength has allowed us to expand employment, entrepreneurship, and caregiver support while continuing to invest virtually every donated dollar in our mission year after year. Strong investment performance enables us to provide even more services than annual donations alone would support. Just as importantly, DAV invests in departments and chapters through per capita distributions, shared fundraising revenue, vehicle donation proceeds, and grant opportunities. Few national charities provide the level of direct support to their local organizations that DAV does. But with strength comes responsibility. Every dollar entrusted to DAV belongs to the mission, whether it's raised locally or nationally, whether it comes from a donor, a fundraiser, a vehicle donation, or a chapter activity. It exists for one reason: to keep our promises to veterans. If a chapter responsibly operates a lounge, a bingo program, or other activity that helps fulfill that mission, that's a good thing. But let's never confuse the means with the mission. We are not in the bar business. We are not in the bingo business. We are in the promise-keeping business. DAV is and always will be a membership-driven organization. We know the challenges chapters face in developing future leaders and preserving institutional knowledge. It's not easy, but none of us have to do it alone. The tools are there, the training is there, the resources are there. Roughly 70% of the veterans we recruit first connect with DAV through the national organization or our national service officers. Our website, conventions, and leadership training provide resources developed in collaboration with experienced leaders from across this organization. Our challenge isn't to reinvent DAV, it's to invite more veterans into it. You've heard about my friend Mick. Looking around this room, I realize there's hundreds of Micks sitting here today. People who quietly show up, people who mentor, people who notice the veteran standing alone, people who saved a seat, people who make phone calls, people who change lives without expecting recognition. The numbers I've shared today, every ride, every claim, every caregiver, every job, every entrepreneur, every new member, and every dollar entrusted to this organization all began with one veteran deciding to help another. That's the real story of DAV. Mick, intentionally or not, taught me that our purpose in life is to be there for each other. Looking around this room, I'd say he's right. Because the greatest legacy any of us will leave isn't the office we held, the committee we chaired, or even the report we delivered, as amazing as those reports may be. It's the veteran who someday tells someone else, when I needed help most, someone at DAV believed in me. If every one of us leaves this convention determined to become that person, for just one more veteran, then the next generation of DAV leaders is already here. And this mission will remain as strong tomorrow as it is today. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your service. And thank you for continuing to keep America's promises to our veterans. Commander, this concludes my report. Thanks, brother.
Bye, bro.
Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you, Cody, for that impressive update. Now, before I ask for a motion, I do want to remind the body, as in order to be recognized, you must be at a microphone. That's for any reason, including to make a motion or to second a motion. So, may I have a motion to accept Mr. Van Boxel's report?
Mike 1.
Mike 1.
John Kleindienst, Chapter 20, Department of Texas. Make a motion we accept the report as read.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Is it on? Mike 3. Derwin Bradley, Department of South Carolina, Chapter 20. Second the motion.
I have, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Now, DAV partners with thousands of passionate VA employees across the nation to ensure the promises to our men and women are served and are kept. We stand together to improve the delivery of services wherever they are needed for the benefit of all veterans. Although they aren't here in person, it is my distinct pleasure to announce the National Commander's VA Employee of the Year Awards for 3 remarkable VA staff members. These awards recognize the leadership, compassion, and dedication to supporting our ill and injured veterans who have given so much to this nation. DAV's Veterans Health Administration Employee of the Year is Lori Chase. A social worker at VA Medical Center in Manchester, New Hampshire, Ms. Chase routinely reaches out to the local DAV office for assistance in a variety of matters to ensure veterans get the absolute most out of the benefits which they've earned. In one such instance, her activism helped DAV ensure a local veteran got their disability compensation reinstated after it was erroneously taken away. Please recognize Ms. Chase with a round of applause. DAV's Veterans Benefits Administration Employee of the Year is Sharon Smith. As manager of the Veterans Service Center at the Houston VA Regional Office, Ms. Smith has strengthened DAV collaboration, improved claims processing, and helped ensure veterans receive timely, accurate benefits. Please recognize Ms. Smith with a round of applause. DAV's National Cemetery Administration Employee of the Year is Ronaldo Rodriguez. As Assistant Director of the Miramar National Cemetery in California and a disabled veteran himself, Mr. Rodriguez fosters partnerships with DAV, expands veterans' access to VA services, and strengthens community outreach through collaborative events. Please join me in recognizing Mr. Rodriguez with a round of applause. Now, each year, DAV also recognizes companies that go above and beyond to recruit, hire, and invest in veterans. These companies understand how veterans contribute to a company's success and culture, and how crucial they are in our mission to ensuring veterans can lead fulfilling lives after service. It is my pleasure to announce the DAV Patriot Employee of the Year Awards for 3 outstanding organizations. Thanks to the DAV National Employment Program's dedicated outreach and collaboration with companies that participate in our nationwide career fairs, DAV receives numerous submissions for our Patriot Employer Awards each year. If you know of a small, medium, or large company that prioritizes hiring veterans, you can nominate them. or encourage them to nominate themselves at patriotemployers.org. I'll say that again, patriotemployers.org. The DAV, the 2026 DAV Small Patriot Employer of the Year Award goes to Cambridge International Systems, located in Arlington, Virginia. Unfortunately, our friends from Cambridge International Systems could not join us here in Orlando, but we'd like to properly recognize them. Cambridge International Systems is a veteran-owned small business that provides cybersecurity, aviation surveillance, and infrastructure solutions to the U.S. military as well as federal agencies and allied nations. Veterans make up approximately 33% of Cambridge's workforce, including leadership and supervisory roles. For the past 5 years, Cambridge has maintained a veteran hiring rate between 30 and 45%. Cambridge's measurable hiring outcomes and ongoing investment in veteran success exemplify the values recognized through the Patriot Employer Award. Please give it up one more time for Cambridge International Systems for all you do to support our veterans. Now I'd like to invite National Employment Director Jeremy Yost to join me on stage for our next two recipients. Our 2026 DAV Midsize Patriot Employer of the Year goes to ENSCO, Inc. Please welcome to the stage ENSCO, Inc.'s Senior Director of Intelligence and National Security Programs, Keith J. Butler.
Has built a strong veteran workforce, with veterans making up 14% of employees and 24% of new hires. The company trains hiring teams to recognize military experience, provides rapid workplace accommodations through a centralized budget, and invests in veteran employees through mentorship, professional development, and military differential pay. Combined with a culture that honors military service and supports veterans in the community, ENSCO exemplifies the values of DAV's Patriot Employer Award.
Congratulations. Thanks, Rob.
Well, good morning. I heard a lot about devil dogs. I've heard there's some Army and Navy here, but where's the Air Force at? There it is. There it is. As a recently retired Air Force veteran and disabled veteran myself, along with my spouse Diane, who is here, also a disabled veteran and life member of the DAV. And on behalf of Jeff Stevens, the president of ENSCO, we can only say thank you. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. To all of you who are here, who have served in our nation's uniform, defended the flag, and gone to all four corners of the globe, thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you have accomplished. And thank you for giving us the opportunity here at ENSCO. ENSCO treats their veterans very seriously. Over 15% of our workforce are veterans, myself included. And one of the things that ENSCO does that I think is really nice with our veteran community is a couple of things. One of them is we give back over $10,000 per year in tuition benefits for any veteran that wants to increase their education. Great. We have reservists and National Guards people that work in our force. And when they're on duty, ENSCO supplements their income to reach what they were at as an ENSCO employee, so they have no loss of pay and compensation. And being honored with this award today does nothing but double down, to reinforce, to make sure that we continue to honor our nation's veterans in national security, in the intelligence community, in surface transportation and rail around the world for ENSCO's business. So on behalf of, again, of Jeff Stevens and all the veteran workforce and all the members of ENSCO, to the Disabled Americans Veteran Organization, Thank you for this incredible award. We will continue to do right by all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith, and congratulations, Tensco. That's a really very supportive company. The 2026 DAV Large Patriot Employer of the Year Award is Sonepar USA. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sonepar America's President and CEO, Rob Taylor, and Chris Miles, Military and Veteran Relations Manager for Sonepar USA, to accept the DAV Large Patriot Employer of the Year Award.
Sonepar USA hires veterans with purpose, bringing on 564 veterans since 2021, while creating clear pathways to leadership, project management, and skilled technical careers. Through partnerships with organizations like DAV, a dedicated military and veteran employee resource group, and ongoing training and career development opportunities, Sonepar demonstrates an enduring commitment to those who serve. These efforts reflect the values of a DAV Patriot employer.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. On behalf of the roughly 46,000 associates at Sonepar globally, we're honored and humbled to receive this award. To all the veterans in the room, thank you so much for your service and sacrifice. It's an example that inspires all of us and reminds us of the importance of serving something other than ourselves. At Sonepar, we're extremely proud to create opportunities for veterans across our entire footprint, and especially in the U.S. We create meaningful career opportunities, grow professional opportunities across the organization, and continue to hope that our veteran community continues to make an impact in the communities. We're grateful to the DAV, of course, for the unwavering advocacy that you give the veteran community, and incredibly proud to serve alongside with all of you. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Chris Miles. Chris is here with me today. He's a 26-year U.S. Army veteran and a DAV member. Chris is a difference maker. Chris leads our veteran affairs and relation effort and has made a significant impact, building partnerships with the veteran community, working with the various spouses in the community to help find opportunities at Sonepar. So, Chris, I want to take, again, this opportunity to thank you for your efforts. And again, thank you so much on behalf of Sonepar for this recognition. We're very proud to support the veterans community, and we'll continue to do so. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Can please congratulate all of our Patriot Employers of the Year with one more round of applause. In 2027, DAV created the Local Veterans Assistance Program, or LVAP, providing volunteers with a variety of opportunities to serve while receiving the same recognition and incentives as available to traditional VA and Transportation Network volunteers. LVAP opportunities assist veterans and their families are based on the needs of local veterans. They include everything from yard cleanup and landscaping to serving as companions for veterans in long-term care facilities and hospice units. These volunteers perform any task that may help improve a veteran's life. I know many of you in this room are LVAP volunteers. I have volunteered with you. Go ahead and raise your hand. Let's keep them coming. Who's an LVAP volunteer? Now, how many of you have donated up to 1,000 LVAP hours. Keep your hands raised. How about 5,000? How about 10,000? Anyone in here more than 10,000? Woo! Look at that. You guys are heroes. All right, everyone, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for all you do for veterans. I'll now ask National Voluntary Services Director John Kleindienst and National Headquarters Executive Director Cody Van Boxel to the stage, please. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my immense pleasure to recognize our top DAV state-level departments in the area of LVAP service, starting with Division 1. The Division 1.
Veterans Assistance Program recipient is the Department of Florida with 499,346 hours. Here to accept the award is past Department Commander John Cornish. Program recipient is the Department of South Carolina with 615,284 hours. Here to accept the award is past Department Commander and current Adjutant Loretta Lassiter-Felton. Division 3 Local Veterans Assistance Program recipient is the Department of Wisconsin with 99,127 hours. Here to accept the award is past and current Department Commander Tiffany Kohler. Division 4 Local Veterans Assistance Program recipient of Iowa, past Department Commander Chris Saladay with 59,157 hours. Here to accept the award is Department Adjutant Lee Hall. Recipient is the Department of South Dakota with 52,078 hours. Here to accept the award is past Department Commander Tim Walsh.
On behalf of our organization, I'd like to express our deepest gratitude for all of the selfless volunteers in VA hospitals, our transportation network drivers, and participants in the local Veterans Assistance Program for their dedicated service to disabled veterans and their families. Thank you for donating your time and energy to help DAV keep our promise to the men and women who have served our great nation. Please join me again in giving them all a very big hand. Now, DAV's success depends on a robust, far-reaching membership, and that is largely possible because of the efforts of more than 2,600 members who recruit for our organization. Thanks to those committed veterans, our ideas, viewpoints, and experiences remain relevant and influential. And before we recognize our top recruiters, let's take a moment to celebrate the members in this room. Raise your hand if you joined DAV in the past year. Welcome, we are so happy to have you. Okay, who's been a member for at least 5 years? Raise your hand high. 10? 20? How about 30? Anyone over 30 years? That is amazing. Whether you are a new member or a more seasoned member, thank you for adding your voice and adding value to DAV. I'd now like to invite DAV National Membership Director Lamar Coser to the stage as we recognize our top division winners in recruiting for 2025 and 2026.
Under the leadership of Commander Andrea Gale Bennett, the Department of Massachusetts is the recipient of this year's Division I award. Accepting the award is Department Adjutant Michael Valiolo. Under the leadership of Commander Drew Wheatley, the Department of Missouri is the recipient of this year's Division II award. Accepting the award is Department Adjutant Michael L. Moore. Under the leadership of Commander Michael Thomas, the Department of Indiana is the recipient of this year's Division III award. Accepting the award is Department Adjutant Jason Black. The Department of Connecticut is the recipient of this year's Division IV award. Department Adjutant Kevin Sanders could not be here today. Accepting the award on his behalf is Commander Brian Haig. Under the leadership of Commander Jamie Morse, The Department of New Hampshire is the recipient of this year's Division 5 award. Department Adjutant Roland Six could not be here today, but accepting the award on his behalf is National Service Office Supervisor Jesse Welch.
No, he said, do you want me to wait? We're going to the Wainwright. We're going to the Wainwright. Flip the 108. All right, great. Our next award is for the General Jonathan M. Wainwright Award, presented to the department that ends the year with the largest percentage increase in total new members. This year's winner is the DAV, Department of Wyoming. Please welcome Department Adjutant Floyd Watson, Jr.
The General Jonathan M. Wainwright Award is named after a past DAV National Commander and Medal of Honor recipient who served as the commander of Allied forces in the Philippines at the time of their surrender to Japan in World War II.
Next, the Judge Robert S. Marks Award is presented to the department that completes the year with the highest percentage increase of fully paid life members over goal. This year's winner is the Department of North Dakota. Accepting on behalf of Department Adjutant Joseph Hall is Judge Advocate Greg Ramus.
The Judge Robert S. Marks Award is named after DAV's founder. Marks served in the Army in World War I. He earned the Distinguished Service Cross and was injured in the Meuse-Argonne Offensive in 1918. He later became a Superior Court judge and law professor.
Many of you joined DAV with the help of one of our devoted National Service officers. Our NSOs retain an unmatched knowledge of veterans' benefit law and an understanding of medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology. On top of all that, being a DAV NSO also requires a unique understanding of our organization. It is my honor to recognize the top recruiter from our NSO Corps, who remarkably recruited 273 veterans to join our ranks. Well, he can't be here today. Please give a round of applause for John Rodriguez of Illinois National Service Office, accepting on his behalf as National Area Supervisor Robert Nabertowitz. This is a very unique year. Typically, a DAV NSO finishes at the top overall recruiter. But Drew Wheatley from DAV Chapter 13 in Missouri was this year's top member leader recruiter and DAV's top overall recruiter. With the help and support of the Department of Missouri, Drew recruited 521 new members. Each year, DAV recognizes the successive members who recruit 100 or more new members for 3 consecutive years with a gold lapel pin and by entering their names into the Membership Recruiters Hall of Fame. This year, we have one inductee who recruited 434 new members over the past 3 years. Please give a round of applause for Scott Burdick of Chapter 24 in Arizona. Accepting on his behalf is the Arizona Department Adjutant, Dr. Carl Faulkner. All right, let's give one final round of applause for all of those amazing recruiters. Our next speaker is no stranger to supporting the men and women who serve our nation. Jennifer Walsh serves as the Principal Deputy Director for the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, DPAA. In her role, Ms. Walsh oversees policy, business development, and outreach for the agency tasked with providing families and the nation with the fullest possible accounting of missing military personnel. Ms. Walsh has also served on the College of International Security Service at the Pentagon's National Defense University and as the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs. Her policy experience ranges from mission assurance to countering weapons of mass destruction, among other areas. She is a graduate of the National War College, the University of Texas at Austin, and the Louisiana Scholars College at Northwestern State University. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ms. Jennifer Walsh.
Good morning. All right, I need these and I need notes, so it's going to take me just a couple of seconds to get ready. Well, good morning, distinguished veterans and auxiliary members of the DAV, National Commander Nee, National Adjutant Jesnowski. I am honored to represent DPAA and to stand with this community that was called by and to service to our nation. I am a career civilian who joined the Department of Defense in the middle 1990s, and I have had an unexpected and extraordinary opportunity to serve our nation side by side with military, civilian, and contractor personnel over the last 30 years. So I am particularly honored to have had the opportunity to join the DPAA team just a few months ago. On behalf of our entire team, I want to convey our collective thanks and appreciation to all of you, members of the DAV. At the national and local levels, you have continued to honor, reflect, and contribute your partnership, your efforts, and your resources to our mission. I want to acknowledge in particular Marty Pennick, who spearheaded a donation from the South Dakota chapter, which then led to a donation from the national DAV organization that's going to help cover some of the costs at a meeting we are hosting next week for over 400 family members of unaccounted personnel from the Korean and Cold Wars. They're going to gather next week in Omaha for our annual government briefings. And because of your donations, they're going to enjoy extra hospitality. I also want to give thanks to Justin Hart of the DAV for his ongoing year-round support to our two organizations' partnerships. He has been steadfast in helping to enable and find new ways for us to work together to help one another's members and communities of interest. Most or many of you are already familiar with DPAA. I'm going to attempt to do slides. I think, can you see the slides? Okay, great. If you are new to us, we are a defense agency whose mission is to provide the fullest possible accounting of missing U.S. military personnel from conflicts going back to World War II. Our agency purpose is the clear moral imperative of delivering on the promise made in the last line of the warrior ethos: never leave a fallen comrade. Our work is a sacred mission to honor the nation's commitment to those who made the supreme sacrifice and their loved ones who deserve answers and to bring them home. The photo on the left of this slide, and many of you may have seen this before, but I find it compelling, so I continue to use it. It represents so many aspects of the challenges, the promise, and the partnership of our DPAA community and our missions, as well as our accomplishments. It conveys literally lengths and depths that we go to locate material evidence and human remains. It shows international cooperation in getting access to and permissions to excavate land in foreign countries. And it shows how we have partnerships with local residents who come out to help us to look for our missing. The photo on the right shows a full military honors burial, which every one of our missing, and by extension their families, deserves. Almost 81,000 U.S. personnel remain unaccounted for, and we estimate around 38,000 can be recovered. We are incredibly proud of our work, and we are identifying more personnel than ever. But the numbers are daunting, and time is not on our side. Still, we will not give up. What is on our side is strong domestic and international support for our work, which is recognized around the world as a humanitarian effort. We benefit from advocacy and partnerships from many communities across the United States and the 54 countries where we have operations. We have families and nonprofit organizations active in many ways to keep our missing and our mission front of mind. We have active champions in Congress who monitor our results and our resources, who are raising awareness on Capitol Hill and across the country in their home districts. And we have fantastic partnerships and advocates across the Department of War, including our Undersecretary for Personnel and Readiness, the Honorable Anthony Tata. And we have strong partnerships with each of our military departments on whom we rely for aspects of completing our mission. Our DPAA team delivers impressive results every week. I remain in awe of the intellect, creativity, discipline, drive, resilience that it takes from many experts, and sometimes over many years, to locate, identify, and bring home our missing. We had a record number of identifications in fiscal year 2025, 231. Of those, 165 were from World War II, 58 from the Korean War, 8 from Vietnam. Quick sidebar. In fiscal year 2025, we had a budget of $184 million. That's a lot of money. We conducted 105 field missions. In fiscal year 2026, the one we are still in, our appropriation was $167 million. Still a lot of money. But with that, we were able to have only 62 field missions across 33 different countries. Looking ahead to the next fiscal year, our budget was put in to be $160 million. This will allow us to conduct 48 field missions over the course of that year. Fewer field missions lead to fewer remains coming in to our DPAA laboratories. Fewer missions now will mean fewer identifications in the out years. We are pleased that Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska, who is a longstanding champion of our mission and our organization, has submitted an additional $40 million for DPAA operations into Senate Bill 4784. This is the Senate authorization for the Department of War for fiscal year 27. The House bill held our budget at that $160 million number. So the Senate and the House will have to work out in a conference where they want to authorize our level to be. We are fortunate, however, that Senator Fischer sits on both the Authorization and the Appropriations Committee. And so we are heartened that we will have her as a champion going into that appropriations decision process. Okay, end of sidebar. Back to our results. We continue to benefit from technology advances, including DNA technology advances that were introduced into our organization in 2025. These have enabled us to make identifications that were not even possible a few years ago. We have built and we benefit from a robust innovation and partnership program that brings amazing people, equipment, and experience to add to our existing capacity and capabilities. We currently have partnerships with 130 entities and individuals with expertise in foreign languages, medical training, cultural resource management, research, and archaeological field work, both aquatic and terrestrial. These partnerships help us deliver outcomes to families by capitalizing on cutting-edge technology while also raising awareness across a broader group of Americans and communities that may not have been aware of how many are still missing. September 18th is National POW MIA Recognition Day. It's what I will call a Lean on Me day. And whether it's taking a minute to reflect or remember, think about those who are missing, those who are still waiting, whether you're attending a commemoration event or just bowing your head, all of those honor our fallen comrades, all of them and their families, so that their families know they are not forgotten. We have not forgotten. If you would like to get one of our 2026 Recognition Day posters, that's what you see on the slide, please feel free to stop by our table in the exhibit hall. I will wrap up by sharing the story of an identification we made just under a year ago. I'd like to introduce you on paper to U.S. Army Captain Willibald Bianchi of New Ulm, Minnesota. He is a Medal of Honor recipient for gallantry, and he is a survivor of the Bataan Death March. He is a survivor of several POW camps, and he is a survivor of the mistaken bombing of the Orinoco Maru, a POW hell ship in World War II. He was transferred after that ship was sunk to another POW ship, the Honora Maru, which was also mistakenly bombed while docked in Formosa. Sadly, Captain Bianchi lost his life on the Honora Maru on January 9, 1945. He was buried as an unknown, and in 2023, his remains were disinterred. And on August 11th, 2025, we identified him. On May 2nd of 2026, he was buried next to his parents and 4 sisters in Minnesota. Gets me every time. There is so much more to his story, but it's better told by a family member. Captain Bianchi's niece, Ms. Carolyn Smith, is here today with us. And later on today, she will be sharing in the POW MIA seminar more about her uncle and her family's experience honoring, waiting, and then welcoming him home after 80 years. If you're going to join, I encourage you to bring a tissue because it's going to be moving. I'll close where I started, and that's with gratitude to each of you and to this organization at the local, state, and national level for what you have done, what you do, and the legacy you have created and what you carry forward for others. It's meaningful and it matters. And I am honored to be a part of this community with you here today. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love your mission. I love your mission. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Walsh. For those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and are interred on battlefields around the globe, one agency is there to honor their service and achievements: the American Battle Monuments Commission. Established in Congress 1923, the ABMC is the guardian of America's overseas commemorative cemeteries and memorials and honors the service, achievements, and sacrifice of U.S. Armed Forces. There are more than 26 cemeteries and 31 memorials, monuments, and markers under the care of the ABMC. Additionally, there are more than 140,000 U.S. servicemen and servicewomen interred at the cemeteries, more than 94,000 missing in action or lost or buried at sea are memorialized on cemetery walls of the missing and on 3 memorials in the United States. Our next speaker is dedicated to ensuring the stories of America's service members are remembered and shared with future generations. Jeremy Kern serves as the Outreach and Engagement Coordinator for the American Battle Monuments Commission, where he leads engagement and education initiatives that connect Americans with the stories of the U.S. Armed Forces honored at the ABMC cemeteries and memorials around the world. A U.S. Army veteran, Jeremy served as a sergeant with the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, supporting some of our nation's most significant military ceremonies and commemorative events. After his military service, he continued serving with the U.S. Army Military District of Washington before joining ABMC please join me in welcoming Jeremy Kern.
First, I think it was really fitting that DPA was before us. With ABMC, we work really closely with that organization. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me this morning. It is an honor to be with you and so many who have continued to serve this nation and veterans long after taking off the uniform. As mentioned, I am an Army veteran, a disabled veteran as well, and that experience defines my continued service today. As veterans, we know military service doesn't end when we leave active duty. It's become part of who we are. It shapes how we view our duty, service, sacrifice, and responsibility to those who serve beside us, as well as fellow citizens in all walks of life. Today, I'd like to tell you about another organization built upon those ideals, principles, the American Battle Monuments Commission. This quote captures the heart of ABMC's mission. We leave you our deaths, give them their meaning. Those words were written by Archibald MacLeish, a World War I veteran who understood that remembrance is not passive, it's something entrusted to every generation to sustain. Every cemetery we maintain, every memorial we preserve, every ceremony we conduct, every story we tell is our nation's promise that those who made the ultimate sacrifice will never be forgotten. For us veterans, that promise carries even greater meaning. ABMC was established by Congress in 1923 under the leadership of John J. Pershing. Understood some things that still ring true today, victory alone would not preserve history. Someone had to preserve that memory. Someone had to care for those cemeteries. Someone had to ensure future generations understood the cost of freedom. That responsibility becomes the mission of ABMC. More than 100 years later, it remains our mission today. That mission is simple. We honor the achievements, service, and sacrifice of America's armed forces. We preserve the legacy around the world. General Pershing said, "Time will not dim the glory of their deeds." Those words are more than our vision and mission statement. They embody an unwavering promise to Gold Star families, to our veterans, and to every American who visits one of our sites. Many Americans are surprised to learn that the United States maintains military cemeteries and memorials throughout the world. Today, ABMC cares for 26 cemeteries, 31 memorials, monuments, and markers, and 17 foreign countries. To soldiers in Normandy, France, to sailors in Manila in the Philippines, to airmen in Cambridge, England, to the Marines at Bella Wood in France, to the Coast Guardsmen at sea, and to the merchant Marines who sustained the fight, these sites remain enduring symbols of America's commitment to freedom. They also represent lasting friendships with the nations whose people continue helping care for us in these sacred places. Collectively, these sites commemorate more than 230,000 Americans. Nearly 125,000 are buried in our cemeteries. More than 94,000 honored on our walls of the missing. When you stand before one of these names, you realize the remembrance is deeply personal. Every name represents a hometown, a family, a life, a future ended in youth. For those of us who wore the uniform, those names are not statistics. They're our brothers, they're our sister in arms. The mission of ABMC has evolved over successful generations. When these cemeteries were first established, families traveled overseas to grieve. They didn't need someone to explain to them what happened. They lived it, they endured it. It broke from some of them forever. Today's visitors are different. Many are students, young families, travelers from around the world. They are beneficiaries of those who sacrificed it all. They come seeking understanding. That means our responsibility is to tell these stories, and those stories have changed. The green grass, the white crosses and Star of David are not enough now. ABMC's educational and interpretive work reflects a simple but enduring principle. Remembrance requires more than preservation alone. It requires storytelling, education, and the commitment to help every generation understand the cost of freedom. It requires reverence, revelations, and this requires education has become one of ABMC's most important responsibilities. Every visitor center, every education program, every documentary, every partnership helps continue new generation of Americans whose courage changed history for all of us today and into tomorrow. If we fail to tell these stories, we risk allowing their sacrifice to become anonymous and risk breaking that promise. We need your help. Ensure that this never happens, because fewer Americans have personal connections to World War I, to World War II, Korea and Vietnam, so education is essential. ABMC now reaches thousands through curriculum resources, teacher workshops, documentaries, partnerships with museums, digital media, and education programs. We also continue strengthening our visitor centers so every visitor leaves the greater understanding of the Americans that we honor. Today, ABMC operates 10 visitor centers, including recent redesigned Cambridge American Cemetery Visitor Center, and we are preparing to redesign the Sicily Rome American Cemetery Visitor Center as part of our continued commitment to reach this goal. Not just to preserve history, but to inspire citizenship. One of ABMC's newest resources is the Burial and Memorialization Directory. It allows you to reach and search more than 200,000 names of Americans buried or memorialized overseas, including laid to rest at our cemeteries and those honored on our walls of the missing. I encourage each of you to look into your family history, or to find out if you are carrying or remembering a relative at one of our sites, no matter how close or distant they are. ABMC also continues to expand the way people can experience our cemeteries and memorials, even if they are unable to travel overseas. To do this, through ABMC, we have a virtual 360 experience. Visitors can explore these sacred sites from anywhere around the world. They can gain a better understanding of the scale and beauty and meaning of the places we care for. We also are adapting interpretive guide videos that highlight individual service members and specific sites, helping visitors connect to each of these cemeteries, to the personal stories, and to those buried and memorialized there. These tools allow ABMC's mission to be more people, educate new audience, ensure that these stories of Americans fallen continue to be shared. The video you will now view highlights Commander Ernest Evans, one of the 30 Medal of Honor recipients honored at Manila American Cemetery. After enlisting in the Navy and graduating from the United States Navy Academy, Evans commanded the destroyer USS Johnston during the Battle of Samar, the larger Battle of Leyte Gulf, as his ship engaged a far larger Japanese force and sustained devastating damage. Evans continued leading his crew with the courage until the last scene he was ordering his men to abandon ship. His bravery and sacrifice earned him the Medal of Honor, and his story is one of many stories of service and sacrifice remembered at Manila American Cemetery.
Today we'll talk about one of the 30 Medal of Honor recipients here at the Manila American Cemetery, Commander Ernest Evans. Commander Evans graduated high school in 1926 and he enlisted into the Navy. After a year of exemplary performance, he was admitted and was part of the United States Naval Academy. In 1943, Commander Evans was assigned on the destroyer USS Johnston, which became part of the battle in Samar, which was part of a larger campaign in the battle in Leyte Gulf. It provided support to the landing forces in Leyte that were led by General Douglas MacArthur. The USS Johnston engaged multiple Japanese battleships and sustained extensive damage. As it was sinking, one of the Japanese battleships came close and saluted the sinking ship and its crew, showing respect for their bravery and their courage. Commander Evans was last seen ordering his men to abandon ship, but his fate after the sinking of the USS Johnston is uncertain. Because of his bravery, courage, and sacrifice, Commander Ernest Evans received the Medal of Honor, and his group received the Presidential Citation. The story of Commander Evans is one of the many stories of men and women that are remembered and memorialized here at the Manila American Cemetery.
Thank you. I'd like to close with what I believe is one of the most powerful photographs in our presentation. It shows two boys at Siren American Cemetery learning about one of the service members buried there. When I see this image, I don't simply see two young visitors. I see the future, learning from the past. Every one of us has the responsibility to ensure that they and every generation that follows understand why these men and women crossed our ocean to defend the freedom. That responsibility doesn't belong only to ABMC. It belongs to every veteran. It belongs to the organizations just like DAV. It belongs to all Americans. Every time we teach a young person, every time we visit a cemetery, every time we remember, I urge each of you to come visit over here in the booth and come see me and learn more about our agency. Learn about the virtual 360s. If you are able to visit our sites in person, come alone. Come with your family, come with your friends, come see these sites that America has put together. Together, we can ensure that these stories of fallen continue to be told, taught and remembered for every generation to come. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued leadership on behalf of wounded, injured, and ill veterans. God bless each of you. May God bless the men and women of our armed forces, and God bless America.
Thank you very much. Love the story about Captain Johnson. What a hero. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd now like to call on Board of Directors Treasurer Nachi Miller for his report. Treasurer Miller.
National Commander Nee, fellow members of the National Executive Committee, DAV members and guests, good morning. Let me begin by recognizing those with whom I served on the Board of Directors. Vice Chairman John F. Donovan, Arizona. And my electronic iPad just went on a blink, but not to worry. We always have to be prepared, right? Secretary, National Adjutant Barry Jesenowski, Kentucky. Director in NEC 7th District, Thomas Ayala, Florida. Director in 21st District, Danny Oliver, Oklahoma. Director, NEC 10th District, Ricky Barenbrugge, Michigan. It is my honor and privilege to present a report on the financial affairs of our organization for the 6-month period ending June 30th, 2026. DAV's total fundraising support through that date was over $66 million. Contributions were in excess of $53 million. Bequests were approximately $13 million. Under the department fundraising program, payouts to departments in December 2025 and June 2026 totaled over $2 million. Since the program began in 1994, more than $125 million have been distributed to departments for their service programs. The board would like to thank all of the departments for their continued participation in these programs, and especially our members for their generosity. As of June 2026, DAV received total support and revenue from all sources of more than $182 million. The total support and revenue is affected by an increase in contributed media value. Also, through June 2026, DAV had total expenditures of roughly $142 million, of which almost $116 million were for service programs, which is 81.5% of total expenses. Over the same period, fundraising expenditures, almost $22 million, were roughly $2 million more than through June 2025. Administrative expenses were a little under $5 million. As of June 30th, 2026, the market value of our general fund long-term investment portfolio is roughly $617 million. DAV's net assets, or net worth, increased from roughly $550 million at this time last year to nearly $634 million, an approximate $76 million increase, or 14%. On June 30th, 2026, the Life Membership Fund reserve was roughly $68 million. Commander, it is my privilege to present DAV's proposed 2027 annual budget for ratification by the convention. At the May 20th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Directors, the board was presented the 2027 proposed budget. The board unanimously approved the proposed budget at that time, a copy of which was provided to all convention attendees at registration. I would like to thank National Adjutant Barry Jesenowski and his staff for all their hard work, which makes this report possible. Commander Nee, thank you as well for all your support of the Board of Directors in our work throughout the year. This concludes my report to the National Convention, a report I feel honored to offer to our delegates on behalf of our board. I thank you and move for the adoption of my report and approval of the proposed 2027 annual budget. Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Nachi, for that very informative report. Can I get a motion to accept the Board of Directors Treasurer's report?
Mike 2. Tim Walsh, Chapter 1, Department of South Dakota, makes a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
May I have a second?
Mike 1. Lena Dees, Department of Texas, Chapter 233, seconds the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Now, I would like to call on Chairperson Rob Reynolds for the report of the Committee on Constitution and Bylaws. This is the first reading of the proposed bylaw changes.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
Comrade Commander and delegates, good morning. The National Convention Committee on Constitution and Bylaws was called to order on August 1st, 2026 by the committee advisor, Ryan Burgos. The first order of business was the election of a convention committee chairman and secretary. Rob Reynolds was elected as chairman and Audrey Cohen was elected as secretary. The committee then proceeded to review the resolution submitted, and I will now report to you the resolutions recommended for adoption by this National Convention. For the purpose of saving time, I will read only the number and purpose of the resolution. Resolution number 698, amend Article 11, Section 11.9, Paragraph 2 of the National Bylaws to increase the amount required to become a life member of the organization from 325 to 350. Resolution number 731, amend Article 9, Section 9.2, Paragraph 1 of National Bylaws to also prohibit a chapter commander and any vice commander from serving as a judge advocate. Resolution number 732, amend Article 6, Section 6.4, Paragraph 1D of the National Bylaws to prohibit a subordinate entity from appealing the decision of the National Commander to revoke their charter for failing to submit a timely annual financial report or officer election report. Resolution number 733, amend Article 8, Section 8.3, Paragraph 1 of the National Bylaws to prohibit a state commander and any vice commander from serving as judge advocate. Comrade Commander, this completes the first reading of the report on the Committee on Constitution and Bylaws and the recommended changes to the Constitution and Bylaws.
Thank you, Rob. In accordance with Convention Rule 21D, the final Constitution and Bylaws report will be read on Tuesday morning during our second business section. No action will be taken at this time. We'll hear the final report of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee at the final business session on Tuesday. At this point, I would like to ask National Adjutant Barry Jesenowski, do you have any announcements?
Thank you, Commander. I'd like to offer a thanks to Meta for their donation of AI Ray-Ban glasses. They donated 1,000 pairs for our members, and all were distributed to service-connected blind and low-vision veterans yesterday. Our regular business resumes Tuesday morning at 8:30. We'll start off with committee reports, including the final report of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and we'll hear reports on the Charitable Service Trust and the National Service Foundation, plus an update on our memorial in Washington. All who wish to donate to any DAV entity, in the interest of time, we ask that you please fill out the donation form in your bags that you received at registration before making your way to our donation space located in Gatlin Registration 1. On Tuesday afternoon, we'll hold our final business session and conclude with nominations and elections of national officers. We're once again giving away 3 $50 gift certificates that can be redeemed at the DAV store, online, or here during the convention. You must be present to win, as always, and if I call your name and you are in the hall, please see National Membership Director Lamar Kauser up here in front of the stage as soon as we adjourn. The lucky winners are Lorna Kelly from North Carolina, Jackie Pear, Tennessee. That was worth $50 alone. Richard Massey from Virginia. We also have some lost and found. First of all, we have an inhaler that was found yesterday. I'm sure nobody has an inhaler in here. Found yesterday, it's in the National Headquarters office in Gatlin E1, so if you lost your inhaler and you need that, and you're still with us here, please go find it. There's also lost and found at Will Call by the escalators, and I'm told that multiple items have been turned into Will Call. So I suppose if you show up over there by the escalators and describe whatever you've lost, they may have it. I hope they do. And one other item we found a DAV Life Member pin, one of the blue ones with the crests. I know many of you have those, but we found it on the floor here. So that'll also be along with the inhaler in the National Headquarters office in Gatlin E1. Thank you, Commander.
Thank you, Barry. Ladies and gentlemen, if able, rise. I ask Chaplain Varner Dancer to please lead us in a closing prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty Creator, once and again, we come before you to give you thanks as we continue in our great convention to empower, to lead others to accomplish great and mighty things. We thank you for all the wonderful awards and recipients. May they truly know how much they are appreciated and that we continue to lead and set the tone for others to follow. Now we go forward with godly wisdom, knowing that what you set before us and that we fulfill our great mission statement. These and all things we do in great accomplishments, and the people say it. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain. The convention stands in recess until 8:30 Tuesday morning.